Hello and welcome to BYJU'S Exam Prep IAS. Welcome to the big news. The topic for today's discussion, NATO expansion. Before we understand what this topic is all about, we have two announcements. One is in reference to Prelims 2022 hacks, mnemonics and mind maps. Episode 8 has been uploaded on our YouTube channel. We also have another video which will be uploaded today with respect to places in news for the period 9th May to 15th of May. Please do check it on our YouTube channel and share it with your fellow aspirants. Let's get started and try and understand what is this topic all about. Why are we discussing this? That is because Finland and Sweden will be joining NATO. In this particular backdrop, we have to understand the history between Finland and Russia, history between Sweden and Russia, what could be the likely consequences because of Finland and Sweden joining NATO, how will it impact these countries, what could be the repercussions because of them joining this NATO forces, what are the consequences to Russia, and what lies ahead is what we will be trying and understand in this small crisp analysis. First up, let's understand a bit of the background. Back in the 1948, Finland had entered into one of the agreements called as Finno-Soviet Treaty of 1948. What was this agreement all about? This agreement is also called as the Agreement of Friendship, Cooperation and Mutual Assistance of 1948, and this was the very basis or the foundation for which Finland was interacting with the Soviet Union up until the Cold War. So this was the foundation or of agreement which laid the relationship between Finland and the Soviet Union. What was under this particular treaty? Under the treaty, which was signed in 1948, the Soviets sought to deter Western or Allied powers from attacking the Soviet Union through the Finnish territory. So this agreement clearly said that the Finland territory will not be used by the Western powers, so that this particular territory can be used to initiate war against the Soviet Union. So Finland had clearly said that they would not allow any of the Western powers to use their territory to wage a war against the Soviet Union back in this territory. The Finns also sought to increase Finland's political independence from the Soviet Union. What do we understand by this? Soviet Union basically believed that they had a principle of socialism, but Finland was not attracted towards socialism, but it was attracted towards capitalism. So because Finland did not want socialism to be placed in Finland and wanted its own process of democracy, it had also said, Soviet Union, we will not disturb the peace process, we will follow the guidelines as inscribed by you under this particular treaty, but we will have our own political independence, we will have our own capitalistic model, we will also have our own democratic process, which was the two ingredient part of this Finno-Soviet Treaty. After World War II as well, Finland had completely stayed out of the Marshall Plan, which was a United States of America's aid program for the European countries after the World War II. It had completely stayed out, and it also stayed out of the NATO even after the Cold War period as well. So the end of the Cold War after 1990 is when this particular country had also not joined NATO to keep itself of the neutrality with Russia. And this is where you also have the US Secretary of State Henry Kissinger, who also said that in the near future, if Ukraine should avoid any war with Russia, they can follow Finland model or Finlandization. Why is that? That is because in 1995, Finland happened to join European Union. So when we look at European Union, it is mostly an economic measure. So Finland joined European Union, and at the same time it was out of NATO. So this meant that they wanted to engage on the economic front and not on the security front. This meant in a similar pattern, Ukraine can also engage with European Union on the economic front and not on the military front, which is to do with NATO. So such was the establishment or the neutrality in the past when it comes to Finland. And when it comes to Sweden as well, Swedish neutrality traces back to the early 19th century and largely held through World War II. So both these countries did not have any enmity with Russia. There were hiccups here and there were certain border issues, but they had always remained neutral when it comes to Russian relationship or back then the Soviet Union. but everything started changing. The initial build-up of this neutrality change perception started when Russia's annexation of Crimea happened back in the year 2014. This was the initial first hiccup between the relationship between Finland and Russia, Sweden and Russia. Why? They felt that Russia in the near future can also become aggressive as well, and this could be a major problem to all these smaller countries on the western periphery of Russia. Added to it, the final nail on the coffin happened when Russia invaded Ukraine back in the month of February 2022. So, after this particular invasion happened from Russia towards Ukraine, public perception also started changing when it comes to Finland. According to a public poll conducted by Finnish broadcaster YLE, 76% of the Finns favor joining the alliance. This number used to be around 25% for years before the invasion. So, with this public opinion changing, what we have is now countries like Finland and Sweden finally joining the NATO forces. So, Sweden and Finland, which had long abandoned this particular issue, have now joined NATO and in all likelihood may get the support of every other country except for few countries which we will discuss eventually. So what we now have is these countries have an overwhelming support to join NATO after the Russian invasion of Ukraine. Now the question is, why are they joining NATO? That is because these smaller countries are afraid and very afraid of Russian military power. They are afraid that Russia has the nuclear missiles. They are afraid that Russia has a massive army as well. They are afraid that they would not be able to stand against the Russian invasion, and as a result they want some sort of security, which is why they are planning to enter NATO. And what is the advantage with NATO? Being a member of NATO will give the nation a security guarantee under Article 5 on collective defense. What does this mean? Let's say, for example, there is one of the countries within NATO. If any other country tries to attack which is not a part of NATO, so every other country within NATO can come together and fight against this external enemy. So what will happen? There will be a collective defense, that is, countries come together, all the countries of NATO will launch and will coordinate, will help against the external aggression. So NATO membership would strengthen the country's security and defense system, and at the same time it will also protect against the Russian threat. That is why these countries have now said that they will be becoming part of NATO. But they've also given assurance as well. Sweden has already said it would not allow NATO to have nuclear weapons on its territory, and at the same time Finland's Prime Minister said that it is opposed to NATO deploying nuclear weapons. So they have said that they may not allow nuclear weapons to be stationed in their country. So this also gives multiple advantages to NATO. What are the advantages it gives? We have one of the islands called as Gotland Island. The Gotland Island belongs to the Sweden. So Sweden's Gotland Island is in the middle of Baltic Sea, and this gives a strategic advantage now to the NATO countries. How? If Russia has to enter Baltic Sea, earlier they did not have any chance of blocking Russia, but now since they have access to Sweden and to the Gotland Island, they would be able to block Russia in this particular plot. This also means that they would be ring fencing Russia as well. There are multiple NATO powers: Germany, Poland, Estonia, Latvia, Lithuania, and now what we will have is Finland as well as Sweden. So Russia is completely ring fenced on all the sides. So Sweden and Finland, when they join, the Baltic Sea is Russia's gateway to North Sea as well as the Atlantic Ocean, would be ringed entirely by the members of the Western Security Alliance. This has raised couple of issues and concerns for Russia. What are the issues faced by Russia? When we look at Russian invasion of Ukraine, why did it want to invade Ukraine? That is because it felt that Ukraine was slipping away from the fold of Russia and was entering into the fold of United States of America and NATO. As a result, it wanted to block Ukraine from entering NATO, which is why it invaded Ukraine. But now, because it invaded Ukraine, every other country feels that in the near future, Russia may also invade Finland, Russia may also invade Sweden, Russia may also invade every other country which are in minor numbers, which are small countries which would not be able to take on Russia, and ultimately these countries have now fallen into the trap of NATO as well. So what could happen? This is a military blunder and a political disaster for Russia, as more sovereign powers are sliding towards the the West and increasing its strength is a direct blow to Russia. Added to it, we know for the fact this has increased the Western unity and they are ready to fight against the dictatorship, the authoritarian regime of the Russian forces. Finland and Sweden, which have now joined the NATO, will also redraw the Europe security map in the east as well. This has created multiple concerns for Russia. One, Russia is completely isolated. Two, economic sanctions have been imposed on Russia. Three, many companies are moving out of Russia and it has further been impacted economically as well as politically. How has Russia reacted to it? We have Russia's foreign secretary who has said that they'll be forced to take military steps if the membership materializes and said that Finland should be aware of its responsibilities and consequences of such a move. It also said that United States of America is provoking every other country, trying to lure other countries, and this may be disastrous for all these countries, says Russia. How can countries become members to NATO? Usually becoming an official member of NATO can take up to 1 year. This also requires approval of all the existing member countries. So this means that all the member countries in NATO who are currently present, they have to give consent to it and every country also has a veto power. So as of now, if there are about 30 countries, all these 30 countries will have to give the consent. Every country will have to give the consent, give its approval, and in case one of the countries does not approve, then another set of negotiations will work it out and ultimately they could become part of NATO as well. As of now, we have NATO Secretary General who has also ensured that countries could join quickly and that the organization would make full arrangement during the interim period. However, when it comes to Turkey right now, Turkey is opposed to Sweden and Finland joining this NATO. Why? That is because President Erdogan has declared that he cannot allow Sweden and Finland to join NATO due to their alleged support of Kurdish militants and other groups that Ankara says threaten its national security. So because he feels that there are many Kurdish and other exiles who found refuge in Sweden and Finland over the past decades, this could harm Turkey and as a result, they do not want these countries to become part of NATO. Erdogan's objection to Sweden and Finland stems from the Turkish grievances with Stockholm and to a lesser degree with Helsinki, perceived support to the banned Kurdistan Workers' Party or the PKK, the leftist extremist group DHKPC, and followers of the US-based Muslim cleric Fethullah Gulen, who Ankara claims was behind a failed military coup attempt in the year 2016. So because these countries do not respect the emotions of Turkey, Turkey says Sweden and Finland should not be accepted as part of this particular NATO force. What lies ahead? What is the way forward? As of now, the last time that United States of America and Soviet Union were almost in the brink of the nuclear war was back in the year 1962. Both the leadership thought in a matured way and this particular issue ultimately came to an end. We are almost in a similar condition as well. Moscow had dropped its no first use policy in 1993 to counter groupings deploying large conventional forces against it. Moscow could be pushed to use the same logic that United States of America did in dropping nuclear bombs on Hiroshima and Nagasaki, and they seriously contemplated using at least on 2 occasions when it was staring at defeat during the Korean War as well as in Vietnam. So in all likelihood, United States of America, which currently believes that Russia may not use nuclear weapons, cannot be taken at the face value because whenever the conventional forces happen to threaten Russia and Russia is in the verge of losing the war, in that case Russia may go nuclear and this could spell a greater disastrous catastrophe for the entire global community. So what should happen? Countries like Sweden and Finland have every right to join any military alliance, but this should not be at the cost of threatening another country. So, in this particular backdrop, the NATO forces or United States of America should take up the initiative to speak to Russia and then they should end this war that is happening in Ukraine and ultimately ensure that this particular NATO alliance, which is increasing and moving into the periphery of Russia, should be avoided. And at the same time, Russia should also promise that in the near future, because a promise of aggression has not been made by the NATO forces, it should avoid invading every other country. Or if this continues to irritate Russia, we don't know what could be the likely consequences. It is this that we have to understand with respect to this article. So this is it for today. Thank you for watching. All the best.